Yeah.
The meeting will please come to order. We will have opening prayer by Akira Granado.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out
She was on mute.
I'm sorry. Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in our endeavors. Amen.
And
Amen.
at this time, we will receive the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
United
States of America
America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice.
for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby,
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilwoman Fields,
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Here,
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Field,
Here.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Present.
Councilwoman Dixon, Councilwoman Dixon, Councilman Spadola,
Here.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Here.
President Congo,
Here.
12 present and 1 absent.
Also for the public comment, just in case anyone who wants to sign up for that, who did not see the message in the chat, there is a Google form sign-up link in the chat for those who would like to speak. Reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
January 21st, 2021, City Council met on virtual regular session on the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Kira Bernardo, Legislative Administrative Assistant.
I move the minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. City Treasury Report.
February 4th, 2021. Total investment, $467,892,796.49. Total cash on hand, $11,671,650.97. Grand total, $479,564,447.46. Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, motion carried. We do have several resolutions of sympathy and a few resolutions for recognition this evening. First, from all of council, we submitted a sympathy resolution for Joseph S. Zawinski. Councilmember Darby submitted a sympathy resolution for Nishan Archie Eaton. Councilmember Hartley submitted a sympathy resolution for Robert Minor. Councilmember McCoy submitted a sympathy resolution for Patricia Rideout. Councilmember Oliver submitted sympathy resolutions for Robert Pointer and Thomas J. Smith. Councilmember Walsh submitted sympathy resolutions for Edward T. Mort Jr. and Michael Degnar Sr. And all of us on council would like to recognize and submit sympathy resolution for Damon Emery, who was tragically taken from us last week. He is the grandson of our former leader and council president, Hanifa Shabazz. And council president, we just want you to know, and Shamika and your entire family, that you are all in our prayers. We do have a few recognitions. The first one is from all of council, and we are going to recognize Kevin F. Kelly Sr., Parks and Recreation Director. And I do believe someone from his family will give a few comments, but just before that, I just want to read the resolution. And again, this is sponsored by all of council. Whereas it is the sense of this legislative body that those who have enhanced the quality of life in our community and have shown a long and sustained commitment to maintaining the high standards of their profession deserve the recognition and the appreciation of the citizens of the city of Wilmington and the entire state. Whereas Kevin F. Kelly Sr. is one such person who has served with professionalism and integrity in his 25 years of public service with the city of Wilmington and a total of 40 years in government work. And whereas the Honorable Councilman Kelly was elected to serve 5 terms on city council, which he was first elected in 1992 and then re-elected in 1996, 2000, 2004, and 2008. Whereas Kevin was unique in that he personally knew just about all of his citizens in the 6th district. He created the 6th district working group during his tenure on council that worked to eliminate numerous problems and to bring about positive change in the community. Whereas Kevin shared a wealth of experience while serving on city council, particularly in the realm of finance, leadership, economic development, youth, and public policy, just to name a few. And whereas Kevin joined Mayor Purzycki's administration team in 2017 as a director of Parks and Recreation. Some of Director Kelly's achievements are he refurbished most of the city's parks. He refurbished the newly designed William Hicks Anderson Community Center. He was responsible for the reconstruction of Eden Park over in South Bridge, its pool facilities, and the new athletic turf field. The redevelopment and the beautification of Riding Square, Boehner Stadium, which is an athletic complex which is now managed by Salesiano School. Whereas Kevin is a well-respected public servant known throughout the entire state of Delaware. Elise, Kevin Jr., Sean, and Ryan, thank you for sharing your husband and your father throughout his illustrious government career. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council salutes Kevin F. Kelly Sr. as an extraordinary public servant and for a career well done. We thank you and we wish you all the best in the next chapter of life in retirement. Thank you so much, Kevin. And I believe that his son is here to give a few comments, and I'm not sure if
Yeah,
anyone else from his family is.
I'm one. I think I'm probably the only one. Thank you guys for the kind words. They do mean a lot. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of someone I'm sure, as you guys all know, had the honor and privilege of serving on the council just like yourselves for 20 years. My father, Kevin F. Kelly Sr. He'll be retiring tomorrow as the head of Parks and Recreation, a job he'd be the first to tell you his best friend Hutch would be proud was his last. I'll walk through some of his other accomplishments, but I feel it fitting to start with one of his first jobs. Handing out park lunches in Browntown, a place that even though we moved out of the neighborhood in the 90s, has never left my dad's heart. Like many retirees, he recently bought a place down the beach to spend time in his twilight years. But he's always told my mom when he retires, he'll be moving back down to Browntown. So Dad, I'm waiting on you to get a house back on 6th Avenue, just like the old days. A proud graduate of Wilmington High and an honorary one of St. Elizabeth's, one of my favorite moments from high school was him showing the school his high school state championship basketball team picture, in which he looked like he took the hippie movement a little too seriously, as that haircut would definitely not sit well with my mom these days. Getting older, he received degrees from Dell Tech and eventually Goldie Beacom, learning accounting, a skill that I learned as well, following in his footsteps, and has given me a start to my career just as it did him. He began working for the Department of Health and Social Services and spent more than 30 years there, eventually becoming the budget director of the department, and left only in 2007 to head Parks and Rec for the city. This brings me to one of my dad's great passions in life, helping the citizens of the great city that we call Wilmington. Long before his current role, my father was attending community association meetings, and eventually he put himself on the ballot box and ran for the 6th District City Council seat, a seat which he held for 20 years. During that time, I watched as my father would work from 9 to 5 for the state, come home, eat dinner, and then start his second full-time job, helping the constituents he proudly represented. To my dad, public service meant making yourself available and getting out in the community to interact with people so they felt comfortable coming to you for help. And believe me, there were a lot of people who reached out for help. My brothers, my mom, and myself all had part-time jobs as phone operators, trying to get people in contact with him. Whether it be someone who needed help finding a job, getting some trash removed for special pickup, or not being able to keep the heat on in the winter, he was always there when someone needed him. His current job, though, is probably the one that allowed him to enjoy himself the most. To say my dad loved the city's parks would be an understatement, because he spent as much time in them playing basketball as anyone you'll probably ever know. And making those parks better for the kids in the city, I know meant a great deal to him. Working with kids, whether it be in the Boys and Girls Clubs, youth sports leagues, or simply getting the keys to a gym so a group can play pickup games on Friday afternoons, were always something my dad loved to do, and I doubt that will stop now. Dad, after a long career, I hope you can look back and be proud on everything you did, because I know that me, Mom, Sean, Ryan, and Granny are. You've been as good a father as anyone could have asked for. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for looking for next in life as quickly as possible. And if not, I've got some ideas I'm sure you'll enjoy. The first being a horse racing play-by-play commentator. In any case, Godspeed, and thank you for all you do for everyone you come across. I know there's many people who consider you their friend, who wish you all the luck in the world. And I promise as soon as things get back to normal, we'll get them all together to celebrate your accomplishments, as you're as deserving of it as anyone. I'd like to thank Chris, Loretta, the rest of the council, and the mayor for believing in my dad to give him this job. It truly means a lot from all of you. With that, I wish you all a happy and safe year. And thanks again for giving me the opportunity to speak about my dad, who I consider as good a man as there is. Thank you all.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin Jr. We really appreciate your words and appreciate your father, man. He was quite a guy. We do have some council members who want to give some comments. I'll start off with Council Member Dixon.
I just wanted to be marked as present
Okay.
in the meeting. And then also, again, all the supplements that his son just shared about him, about Kevin, you definitely will be missed for working all hard, especially my tag team partner and Play Streets that we had here in the city of Wilmington. So he would definitely be missed. And thank you for all the hard work and the efforts that you've been putting in for all your decades, not only just as a city council member, but always being a constituent as well, and making sure that people are taken care of. So happy retirement, Kevin.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I guess my comments are the same as his sons and Councilwoman Dixon. Kevin, you will be missed. I've called you all hours of the night, early in the morning. You're the only person I know I can call at 6 o'clock in the morning, answer the phone. But the work you have done throughout the parks in the city of Wilmington has been tremendous, and you will be missed. And congratulations to all your endeavors, and good luck. Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson.
Kevin, on to another chapter. I really appreciate your mentorship through the years. You've really shown me what it's like to be a public servant, selfless service, and how to just be there for the community. So you'll be missed in this role, but we're still going to use you out there. And again, thank you for what you've done in Wilmington. Only thing bad I can really say about you is that you're a Celtics and Raiders fan, but we all can't be Eagles fans. But besides that, just thank you for your service.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you. I'm still trying to figure out how to raise my hand. Well, what can I say, Kevin? We've been to battle and back through many phases of our lives. When I worked with the administration and you were a councilman, I will say this, you took me out to the street, you took me to your neighborhood, we knocked on doors. You talk about a guy who knows how to campaign and just really knew his neighborhood. I really appreciate when you did that when I first ran for city council, and just the collaboration and working with you. And I know you're a diehard Irish, but to us, the Latino community, we completely believe that you're a Puerto Rican man inside an Irish body. So, you're a bro. We love you. La comunidad te quiere, te adora. Gracias. Thank you for everything you have done for all of Wilmington, but how you've especially embraced the Latino community as your brothers and sisters. And, you're just a bro no matter what with every community. So we love you. I love you. And I wish you the best. And I'm going to miss you terribly. Thank you for a job well done.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Council President. First, I just want to say to Director Kelly that I celebrate and I congratulate you on your retirement. I know I've only been knowing you for 4 years. I don't have the history as some of the other council members, but I really, truly appreciated the time that we did spend together. It was always efficient, always proficient, always kind, always helpful, and always impeccable with whatever request that I ever had or ever gave him to fulfill. And so I just really appreciate that. And even down to last week, he reached out to me to reconnect on a project that we started on last year. He wanted to make sure that he closed up all the loose ends and wanted to make sure that this project gets completed. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of your hard work and your professionalism. I'm going to miss you. And I hope whoever takes over and whoever's your replacement, that they realize that they have they have a hard act to follow, but I know that they will be able to do it. And congratulations on your retirement and all the best in your next chapter.
Councilmember Fields.
Hello, I'd just like to say congratulations to Mr. Kelly. Like Michelle, I don't have that much history with him, but if you walk through Hilltop, you heard his name ring. many and many a times. And if you knew him, then they were like, okay, you're good. So I definitely want to say thank you, because he's helped me throughout the last couple of years. He was very instrumental in teaching me, what I needed to know as far as parks and recs, what I need to do with what I need to do with the parks in my district. He's very open and welcoming, and that is going to be missed. And I had a little joke with him the other day. I said, I'm not telling you congratulations because I'm mad that you're leaving me. As soon as I get here, you decide you want to leave me. That's not fair. But we started laughing. He said, hey, my sister, because we call me my sister, I'm going to be around. So I said, okay, my brother, I'm going to be reaching out to you. So I just wish you all the best. I wish you I want you to relax, because I am going to be on your heels. I appreciate everything that you've done from the beginning to the end, including helping me when it came to issues with my mother. The rest of the city does as well. Good work, because you already know we're going to worry you out.
Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, President. I just wanted to congratulate Kevin, and like Councilwoman Brigetta said last week or about a week and a half ago, Kevin and I were walking through the first district. And unfortunately, I have regrets because you're leaving me in the middle of a project that we just started. But I thank you for everything you've done so far and all the help with Haynes Park. And like I said last week, enjoy yourself in your retirement. Thank you.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say congratulations on your retirement. I sent the text right after I found out. I'm like, wait a minute, I told you to relax. I meant a vacation. I did not mean retirement. I chose my committee because of the fact that I wanted to have more of those type of conversations when it comes to parks. My first connections with Director Kelly was not because he was my council person, but we got a chance to work together, and he showed me the ropes when it came to the different community groups in the 6th and 7th district, because I was working at West End Neighborhood House and community outreach. So he made those introductions. He made certain that I knew who all those people were, and made some really great friends that I still are able to, bounce ideas off of in all of those different areas. So those connections came from him. He's always been the person that I went to when I needed history about this district, because I've only lived here 16 years and this man has been here for life. And so he can give me the history of pretty much any person or any building, any street, you name it. And so the beginning of my term started off just as that, just basically getting a history lesson on at least every other week or so, just making certain that I had understanding on certain areas. So I just want to thank you for the time that was actually you invested in me. And I hope I get a chance to still see you around. Congratulations, Kevin.
And definitely, last but definitely not least, Councilmember Walsh. I know that you and Councilman Kelly had a very special friendship and relationship on and off of council floor. So I just wanted to save you for last.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, I was one of 5 daughters in my parents' family, and so I wasn't blessed with brothers, but Kevin Kelly was one of the adopted brothers that I had in life. He is one of the most amazing people I have ever met, in the sense of, if somebody does ill to Kevin, just like the rest of us, he might react to that, but Kevin just bounces back, and he's kind to every single person he meets in the city of Wilmington. He is by far the best parks director this city has had in the last 40 or 50 years. It really is a damn shame that he only did complete 4 years and didn't stay on longer. I don't think I'm going to speak to him for a while because of that, but will eventually. He is the kind of man that can walk down an empty street, and at the end of the street, he'll have 10 kids playing in the middle of the street doing something that he tells them to do. I like to think of him as the Pied Piper of Wilmington because he can talk anybody into anything and he can get just as many people to follow him. I know his family has sacrificed a lot over the years because he was the go-to guy to call at 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, whether it was one of your kids getting in trouble, you getting in trouble yourself, or your house just ran out of gas or oil, and Kevin would be out in the car and would take off and go to help anybody, anywhere, in any neighborhood in this city. Kevin, it almost sounded like a funeral here today because everybody was saying how much they're going to miss you. But you'll go down to the beach a couple times and then you'll say you can't stand it because there's not enough action down there. Not enough people know how to play basketball. So you'll be back up here, you'll be roaming our streets, and you'll be telling people what to do. I send you much, much love, my pretend brother. Thank you for all you've done for our city, for our state, and for me as a person. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Councilmember Walsh. And again, Kev, thank you for everything, man. Congratulations. It's hard to see you go, but you definitely deserve it. So happy retirement, brother. This time we're going to have we're going to recognize, well, due to unforeseen circumstances, Councilmember Harley will present her recognition resolution at the next City Council meeting. Council Member Spadola.
Yes, Council President. I have a resolution I would like to present in honor of Pastor Sandra Ben.
All right.
It's my pleasure to read this and honor someone who does so much for so many. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. And whereas Pastor Sandra Ben, after 32 years of teaching in the Chester Upland School District, is now a retiree. And whereas Pastor Sandra Ben is a Wilmington community activist and founded a nonprofit organization called Safe United Neighborhoods, known as SUN. This organization was designed to promote clean and safe neighborhoods with volunteers that do weekly walkabouts throughout the neighborhoods with the Wilmington Police Department. The volunteers provide food and clothing for the homeless and needy and activities for the youth to help keep them off the streets. Some of the activities are participating with a community garden, assisting with Sun Park, organizing family fun events, health fairs, and community days. And whereas Pastor Ben, with her late husband, Reverend John Ben III, founded a ministry as a praying station in a challenged community. And in 2002, it became Praying Ground Community Church. She became the president of the Northeast Civic Association and vice president of the 3rd District Neighborhood Planning Council. Pastor Ben has developed relationships and partnerships with many organizations, such as Habitat for Humanity's, Ninth Ward Ministry Coalitions, IMAC, Brandywine Partners, Stop the Violence Prayer Chain Foundation, and many others. And whereas even throughout this pandemic, Pastor Ben has led her team and continues to give to the Northeast community on a weekly basis. Pastor Ben states that COVID-19 has made us change our methods, but cannot stop our vision. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council is pleased to commend Pastor Sandra Ben for the outstanding commitment and dedication of service that she provides to the local community. Thank you, Pastor Sandra Ben. If I could just say real quick, I mean, I think, to know Pastor Ben is to like her immediately, and then to see what she does in the community is just to develop such an immense sense of respect for how much service she performs day in and day out. I mean, she's an example for all of us and reminds us, even if you think you've given a lot, you can still give a little more, because I promise you, Pastor Ben has given that extra little more. So Council President, I'll turn it over to you for Pastor Ben.
Yes, Pastor Ben, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, I'd love for you to make some comments if you'd like.
Yes, I would. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. And just on behalf of my awesome Sun team, volunteers, and myself, and I'd just like to say thank you to City Council President Trippy Congo and to our 3rd District Councilwoman Oliver, where we're located, and to all the council members present here tonight. I just want to say thank you for this great honor. I also want to thank Chief Tracy and the Wilmington Police Department for their support to Sun. But I have to say a special thanks to Councilman at Large James Spadola for considering us to receive this great recognition. This has been a special year for us in receiving awards. A documentary called Rebound from Murder Town that we were featured in received a regional news Emmy this year. So now tonight to receive this honor from our city council is just a blessing and an encouragement to help us to continue doing what God has called us to do. Two of my favorite words for 2021 are be consistent and continue. So as we consistently continue to bless others weekly, as we are blessed, we just hope that you will continue to support us. And again, we just say thank you. Thank you. Again, I thank Councilman Spadola because he has been a part of us before he became councilman, and I believe he's going to continue to do that. So I want to thank you again for this great recognition. Just God bless you all.
God bless.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Pastor Ben. Council Member Oliver.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President. This is a great award for overdue for a lady who worked so hard in the 3rd District. I've been out there in the trenches with her. I see all the hard work she does over there. And I mean, only thing I can say is, Pastor Ben, you know, we talk all the time, and I just like to thank you for all your hard work. I always tell you, nobody works harder than you over in that Northeast area, and the things you do and the way you help the kids. And I see all the support when the youth come out to help you. So congratulations, and thank you, Jane Sapola. Couldn't have picked a better person. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Well, Pastor Ben, I'll say this, that you have definitely kept up the fight, a good fight. The things that you do, thank you for always inviting me and including me. And I know the last few years I've not been able to participate as much, but I was so grateful to have had the opportunity to work on so many projects with you. And one thing that wasn't mentioned is your fight for the environment, environmental justice. So as we prepare a resolution to thank those environmental justice warriors in the upcoming meetings, know that you will be part of that as well. So I thank you, not just what you do for the people in our community in need, but what you do for the environment, for the greater love of all the earth, Mother Earth, gifts that came from God. And then, of course, I'm also honored to share a son. We share our sons, actually. She's another mama to my Michael, and I'm a mama to her son. So congratulations. Thank you for a job well done. And count me in. I will be by your side as we proceed in the months to come, because there's much work to be done. I'm back.
Councilmember Fields.
I just want to say congratulations, Pastor Ben. You have done so much in the community, and I just want to say, you know, continue the good works, and you know that you will continue to be blessed as you continue to work. God sits high and he looks low, and he sees all. So continue to do what you do, and know that you have been a blessing to many. You have been a blessing to me. And I know that your building is over there in the 3rd District, but you live in the 5th District. So I just, you and my mother, you and my mother did community outreach together, and you attended different church services together. So it's nothing but a connection through God. So I am going to be there to support you as much as I can, when I can. And I remember the last walk that we did, and that was I just thought about it. It was funny. So just continue doing what you're doing. God bless you, and I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say congratulations, Minister Ben. I'm like, this is actually knowing that you live in the 5th District. I know your building's in the 3rd District. When I participated in walks, I don't think it was even in those districts. You've been in my district. You've been, wherever you're needed is where you are. You are citywide. You belong to all of us, and I'm just so glad to know you. So congratulations. It is well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say to Pastor Ben, congratulations. Not only do I know you as a public servant working in the community, I know you as a faith leader as well. And I just want to say thank you for your passionate hard work and the love and the genuine love that I know that you have for people. And I want to thank you for the 2 times, I believe it was 2 times that I organized a prayer walk, one with Pastor Margaret Guy. And I remember we reached out to you and you were available. You was willing to share jackets, people, children, and even, you even shared your connections with the WPD. So I want to thank you for that. That was during a time when the young man, Javon, the 6-year-old who got killed over on the east side off of 6 in Spruce Street. And then we did another prayer gathering. I believe it was a couple years ago, 2 summers ago, and you was right there as well. So I just want to say, congratulations, and I'm honored to know you not only in the community but also as a faith leader. And for those that don't know, she's an awesome pianist, she's an awesome vocalist, and she's an awesome preacher. And again, congratulations on this recognition.
Thank you.
Councilmember Dixon.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I call Pastor Ben. We've been in the trenches for a while for some different initiatives in the community, and anytime that I need something or she needs something, we make sure we get it done. And I appreciate her for all her efforts that she's done in the 3rd district, and as my colleague said, across the city of Wilmington. And I know, Pastor Ben, I still owe you 2 coats that's still sitting in my house that I need to get to you. But anytime I've asked her for, places that we can do different activities, or we share on the same board with Conscious Connections and the work that's being done with the gardens and the things that she does for our young people in the community in the 3rd district is amazing. And I salute you and also call you the closer, because a lot of times when we come and do anything at the end, Pastor Ben is the one that closes us out in prayer and make sure that we all go back to our places safe and secure. So I know you work tirelessly, and sometimes when she is extra tired, she still comes out and does what she needs to do for her community and for her area. So again, congratulations on everything that you're doing and everything that you'll continue to do for our communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Walsh, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
Just very quickly, I would like to applaud Pastor Ben for everything she does for her community. She's one of about 50 hardcore community activists in this town who are just hidden gems, because it doesn't matter how much money they raise, whether it's a lot or a little, they always manage to get the job done and to protect our children. And just keep doing what you do, Margaret. So many people appreciate it. Many that you don't even know. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Pastor Ben, for just being a role model for me and so many other council members. And I'm glad that there are so many people who are watching this meeting so that they can also be one of your mentees. Just the work that you have done is second to none. I just look forward to working with you throughout the next 4 years and throughout my lifetime. So thank you, and thank you.
Yeah.
I believe that's all. Okay, Council Member Walsh, did you have any resolutions?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Council President. This resolution is for one of our police officers, and it's being sponsored by myself, Councilmember Gray, Johnson, Dixon, and Spadola, and with the best wishes of the entire council. Whereas it is a sense of City Council to honor individuals who protect and serve the citizens of Wilmington that have demonstrated outstanding achievement and excellence, deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. And whereas Detective Joseph Wicks was recognized as the winner of the 2020 Delaware Crime Stoppers Robert J. Sinus Law Enforcement Officer of the Year Award. And whereas Detective Joseph Wicks was honored for his efforts in relation to several major crime investigations, including shooting incidents, stabbing incident, reckless endangering incidents, and along with other members of the Criminal Investigation Division, Detective Wicks worked closely with and was supported by the Real-Time Crime Center, the Crisis Management Tactical Team, and the U.S. Marshals Service. And whereas under the leadership of Chief Robert J. Tracy of the Wilmington Police Department, Detective Joseph Wicks epitomizes the spirit and commitment that are characteristic of a true Delawarean, and his professionalism and dedication are evident to all that he works with. And whereas Detective Joseph Wicks has contributed greatly to the safety of his fellow citizens, responding to every call with tremendous courage, fortitude, and professionalism, and making a significant impact for the betterment of his community in a discipline requiring total commitment in an arena exhibiting constant challenges and effort in necessitating a true spirit of sacrifice. Always put the needs of the public first. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council is honored to recognize and commend Detective Joseph Wicks as a recipient of the 2020 Delaware Crime Stoppers Robert Sinsoth Law Enforcement Officer of the Year Award. Detective, best of luck to you. I believe the detective is here, Council President, and also I believe Chief Tracy had asked for, he promised 30 seconds.
Yes, and we'll go to Chief Tracy first.
Okay. Well, thank you, Council Member, Public Safety Committee Chairperson Walsh, Council President Congo, and to the City Council members for this recognition. And congratulations to Detective Wicks. I was fortunate to be able to join him and his wife for a small ceremony when he received this award. And we appreciate the recognition from the Delaware Crime Stoppers for this statewide honor. Detective Wicks is a fairly new member of the Criminal Investigations Division, and he's already made significant impact through his efforts investigating some of the most serious offenses that affect public safety and impact our residents and neighborhoods. His dedication, commitment, perseverance in his investigations is indicative of how each member of the Criminal Investigations Division and this department approaches service to our community. I can say with confidence that our city is safer because of dedicated public servants like Detective Wicks, and I applaud his work and this accomplishment. Thank you. Great job, Joe.
Thank you, Chief Tracy.
Thank you.
Detective Wicks, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Chief Tracy and Councilmember Walsh, thank you for those kind words. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you for this honor. I would personally like to thank the Wilmington Department of Police Command Staff led by Chief Robert Tracy for leading and guiding our department in the right direction. Your continuous effort to strive for our commitment, professionalism, and dedication to the citizens of the City of Wilmington is extraordinary. I know that these efforts enhance public safety and community relations on a daily basis. Protecting the community fuels me as an officer, but most importantly, a person. The work that we do as law enforcement is most important in protecting the Wilmington families and the future that they hold. To Mayor Michael Przicki and all members of City Council and the Public Safety Committee, thank you for this incredible honor. I believe that this can only be achievable with our tireless effort and commitment to the citizens of the City of Wilmington and all individuals. I know that our commitment as a government, we can achieve new possibilities every single day. Finally, I'd like to read a quote from Benjamin E. Mays. Mr. Mays said that every man and woman is born into the world to do something unique and something distinctive. And if he or she does not do it, it will never be done. It isn't a disgrace not to reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach for. Again, thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to be present today. And thank you for this incredible honor.
Thank you, Detective Wicks. Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to congratulate Detective Wicks for such an outstanding award. I don't think the magnitude of the award can be understated. Detective Wicks didn't just beat out every other Wilmington cop to win that. He beat out the state police, the county police, every other cop in the state. So for the Crime Stopper salute Detective Wicks and that honor, and grant the Wilmington Police Department that honor. It's really a great credit to the department, to Mr. Wicks, and to the chief. So I thank you all and congratulations again.
Councilmember Carrera.
First of all, I would like to say that your words were just outstanding and, you know, just really impactful. You could feel the emotion, the love, the passion that you have for the job that you do. And it is a thankless job now more than ever. And can't say enough about how we need officers that are dedicated, and you truly have to be outstanding to have beat all these other fine officers in our state. So I just want to thank you for your service, Mr. Wicks, and your family, because every day that you go out the door, it's a sacrifice that your family is making. And Chief Tracy, I'm glad that you are working diligently out here in the community with your officers, and that they have so great respect for you. So yeah, this is a great win for the city of Wilmington. Thank you for your service and your eloquence.
Again, just thank you, Detective Wick. Detective Wick, how long have you been with the Wilmington Police Department?
I've recently just hit my 6th year as a Wilmington officer.
You said this is your six years?
Yeah, 6 years.
Wow. I guess that's even another testament to the great work that you have done, to have only been with us for 6 years and receiving such an honor. So thank you again for all that you have done. You know, Councilmember Spadola tried to put it in perspective of the magnitude of this award. So I just, congratulations, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council President.
You're welcome. I don't think that we have any more resolutions of recognition. So at this time, we will go into public comment. Just as a friendly reminder, there is a Google form sign up link in the chat for anyone who has not signed up but would like to speak. Remember that the time limit is 3 minutes. Please keep your comments directed to myself, and you will be notified once you become close to your 3-minute mark. You will be notified, I think, around 30 seconds. So first, right now we have, I think, 6 members from the public who want to speak. First, we have Mr. Donald Farrell. Mr. Farrell? He might be having some technical difficulty. We will come back again.
Yeah, I think he was in the room, but now he's gone.
Okay, so if he comes back, can you just let me know, please?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next we have, who's next? Cheyenne Miller. Ms. Miller? WITN, is Ms. Miller in the room still?
I don't see her in the room currently, no.
All right, again, we will come back around if she comes back. Nakia Madre. Nakia Madre?
Yes, hello?
Yes, thank you for joining.
Hi, how are you?
All right, how you doing?
I'm good. I guess my question, first and foremost, good evening, everyone. We did not vote you all into office to only be dismissed to the non-legislative matters. Legislation that affects the city of Wilmington is mandatory for us to have a voice. How dare our voices be disregarded during a vital time, such as when stuff is being discussed. I'm a resident. This affects me. I believe it's an example of systematic oppression at its finest. And we voted you all in, and our voices must be heard because a lot of stuff is on the agenda. For instance, the new bill that's called, it's named something different, the blight bill. My question about that is, how are the, I'm reading it, how is the, how exactly is this going to be enforced? I know it says Department of License and Inspections. Well, that's the same department that does the inspections for Section 8. So if a unit fails, is that blight bill going to be enforced? Basically for the repair that's may just be needed, because y'all have a now an inside person that can go back to the office and say, oh, they failed inspection over something that was in the unit. So now all these imposed fines can now take effect. And as far as the police wanting to get funding for, I believe it was scooters, and also for, I believe it was pepper spray or something to that agenda. What is, when is the city really going to be like really managed, and when are we really going to have legislation that really tends to our needs? There's still no clubs, and due to the COVID, how can that even be? I have so many questions, but you know, it's tasers. That's what it is, tasers. I'm just, you know, I just need more answers than anything.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Madre. I will allow Councilwoman Cabrera at the end of the public comment, just to let everyone know when we will be able to have a further and a deeper discussion around her legislation. Next we have Renee. Please forgive me for the pronunciation of your last name, Spruill. Renee Spruill.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes, you had it right, Spruill. And thank you for allowing me to speak. First, I want to say congratulations to everyone for being elected to represent the city of Wilmington.
Thank you.
The city needs good leaders, and I wish all of you the best in the coming session. I am both a licensed realtor and a city of Wilmington landlord. I wanted to speak regarding the city's endeavor to make changes to the city code regarding the rental properties and the amendment to Chapter 34, which is Agenda Item 0018. For the record, I and many other city landlords agree with City Council and the mayor that there needs to be some changes to improve the housing stock. Last session, I argued that the proposed blight bill would not only negatively impact who the city considers their good landlords while barely touching who they consider their bad landlords, but would also hurt the vulnerable population they claimed they wanted to protect, the low and moderate income tenants. I wanted to speak to today because that prediction is now starting to become a reality that I felt needed to be brought to your attention as a new council attempts to tackle this very important and complex issue. When discussions around the blight bill started heating up last session, many landlords approached me as a realtor in regards to selling their rental properties, and many have already listed or sold their entire portfolios because they did not want to deal with the city, who did not want to take into account input from their important stakeholders, the landlords. As a result, the negative impact to the vulnerable tenants that I argued has already begun. I recently began marketing one of my units for rent, and after 3 days, I had to remove my ads because I received an unprecedented avalanche of inquiries, between 50 and 60 calls, emails, and text messages per day regarding my 3-bedroom house. Several of them were begging and pleading with me to consider them and stated they were desperate to find a place as soon as possible because their current landlord was selling their house and they had nowhere to go. Many also stated that they were having a hard time finding a place because there's simply not very many rentals available. As a result, some tenants offered me to pay more rent than I was asking, and some offered to pay me several months in advance just to secure a place. This situation is only going to get worse if the city continues to push policies similar to the blight bill without input from your stakeholders. The good landlords who actually abide by and care about the rules will begin selling off their properties, as many are gearing up to list them now, which will send these vulnerable tenants running into the arms of who you guys consider the slumlords because they have no choice. And then they will not report bad living conditions because they'll be scared to get evicted again.
30 seconds.
I wanted to speak because I really want to advocate that the new council decides to work with the landlords as well as all the other organizations. Our organization president, Jeff Sheraton, emailed all of you guys a list of recommendations in regards to the current ordinance that's under consideration. A lot of our recommendations echo those from the Homes campaign, and we hope that our aligned values from both our organizations, which represents tenants, homeowners, and landlords, are considered by City Council and taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee, for your continued participation and engagement with, around this legislation. Next, we have Ms. Lauren Bales.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Dr. Lauren Bales. I live here in the 5th in the Cool Spring Tilton Park neighborhood. I'm hoping to speak with you all about agenda item 0018, which is the ordinance to amend chapter 34. So I'm just delighted to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time. As you well know, this is a new council, a new year, and we have a host of new opportunities before us. In regards to the amendment of chapter 34, I've read the proposed ordinance pretty carefully, and this legislation just looks a lot like the same document that's been kicking around for about 3 years. And my really earnest question to you all is, why would we let the past constrain our vision for fair, affordable, and just housing in the future? As some of you know, because you were kind enough to attend the meeting on Tuesday night, there's a group in Wilmington called the Homes Campaign. I've been volunteering with them for about a year, since the Housing Summit last February about this time. And they hosted a moving, really inspiring event Tuesday night with over 100 virtual attendees. I encourage everyone to watch it. It's still available on Facebook. And I want to say a special thank you to the council representatives who did attend. Not only did they host a number of our neighbors who have experienced homelessness or are currently experiencing homelessness, those who are returning from incarceration, but also landlords and renters. And we just really got a chance to hear their stories and to hear some of their policy recommendations and what would change their experiences of housing in Wilmington. So my encouragement to all of you is to look into what Homes is offering. They have some very serious and actionable policy ideas that are built out of these neighbors' experiences and from evidence about the most innovative housing solutions nationwide. These policies are inclusive, collaborative, and really fresh. So my encouragement is to have us all move forward in housing rather than backward. Thank you for your time. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Ms. Bales. We appreciate your comments. At this time, it is 7:30, or it's almost 7:30, so we're going to need to make a motion to extend public comment so that the remainder of the speakers will have an opportunity to do so.
So moved.
I make a motion that we extend the time.
Second.
No, I'm not finished for, I have to see how long. I make a motion that we extend the time for half an hour.
Second.
Thank you.
And it's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So move. Okay, so, it passes, and we will continue public comment for 30 minutes. Next, we have Miss Erin Goldner.
Hello. I just wanted to extend congratulations to Pastor Ben and all the work that she does on the east side, and all the food drives she does, and the clothing drives, and her work with the Civic Association, and her being a pastor of a church also, and raising a family, and her grandbabies, and being a singing teacher, and supporting all of her community members in the work they do, the work that I do with people who have addiction. She always supports me. She supports everybody. She always shows unconditional love, and much needed over on the east side, and just much needed regularly, just to know someone loves you no matter what. And that comes from Pastor Ben. And she always tries to be smile and find something to laugh about. And she always tries to show up if asked. And I didn't know if Kevin Kelly was retiring tomorrow. I think I helped him campaign 10 years ago. And he came to my sister's funeral, and he's just a good man, done a lot of work, and he loves basketball. And I think that's why he wanted to be a part of Parks and Recs, so he could be a part of basketball, continue to be able to have basketball in his life. He still gets down. But Pastor Ben, Kevin Kelly, two good people to honor this evening, and thank you to them for all that they do and keep our spirits up when it's tough times. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. At this time, I believe that Cheyenne Miller is back with us.
Yes, thank you. I apologize. I was under the wrong name. Supposed to be under Cheyenne Miller, so apologize about that. And I appreciate the opportunity to take the time to listen to my public comment. Want to extend a thank you to the city council members who were able to tune in on Tuesday night, where the Homes campaign was able to present some stories from residents from around the city who are experiencing issues with housing, homelessness, issues with their landlords, and issues related to stability and being able to stay in their homes. During that presentation, we were able to unveil a policy recommendation, a series of policy recommendations that we hope City Council will take into consideration around housing. Some of those included enforcing current laws that are on the books around registering rental properties as well as vacant properties, things that that the Department of License and Inspection already should be doing, as well as implementing new programs that make sure that our neighborhoods are protected, that our neighborhoods are stable. That includes things like making sure people who are renting have the opportunity to have programs that help them avoid eviction, programs that help them mediate eviction, and things like that. We're also hoping that the city will be inclusive and start thinking about its unhoused individuals. There are many people who are living out on the streets during the pandemic and before the pandemic, and they are still being criminalized, even though there have been changes in the law for how we deal with people who are unhoused. We want to ensure that we are not criminalizing them, finding and feeding them. And then to switch it up, I'd like to address the blight bill, which has been reintroduced. It is disappointing to see that so many members of a new city council have decided to introduce a bill that has been voted down twice, that has had 3 years of fight from the community, and people are clearly looking for something new from city council. So we ask that rather than the blight bill being introduced tonight, that you all consider not introducing it, taking it off the agenda, and considering some of the legislation that the Homes campaign is putting forward. We also ask that if you are going to pass the blight bill or vote for it, that there are some key amendments that are being circulated, I believe, by Councilwoman Darby. So please ensure that you look at those and consider amending this bill that will be harmful not only to all landlords, whether we deem them good or bad, but also ones that are people who are living in rental properties. And then furthermore, I'd like to say that we hope that public comment will be open for people who live around the city, regardless of whether they pay taxes or are considered a resident. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Miller. And again, thank you for your continued engagement with the City of Wilmington, our City Council, and just for the well-being of everyone who lives here. I believe that we do not have anyone else who has signed up for public comment. I just want to check with WITN to make sure that's correct before we move on.
That looks like that was it for public comment.
Okay, all right. Again, just want to thank everyone from the public for joining us this evening. And thank you to my fellow council members for extending the public comment time so that we were able to hear from everyone who wanted to voice their concerns. Okay.
With that, I move a motion to go to legislative business.
Just quickly, I just want to allow Councilwoman Cabrera to give comment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Council President. I know that it's not customary to do that, but I appreciate the opportunity because I would like to invite anyone that would like to speak on the housing reform bill to make an amendment to the chapter 34 of the city code, which I hope people understand that these rules that are in here already exist. This bill is to change it from the criminal process, which takes a long time, into a civil process so that we can actually get those homes repaired. This is a bill that is not harmful to landlords, but actually helpful to those that already do the work and who register their properties. It's also going to address that. So we do welcome comment, and we are taking comment via email. You can make a phone call, and there's some changes that we're already incorporating from the feedback that we've gotten, but we do invite you to come to the meeting at 5 p.m. on February 11th, and make sure you get invited via Zoom. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, we're going to go to legislative business. Councilmember Gray.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
The motion, we need to make the motion to go back to legislative business.
I thought Xanthi had done
No, we
that.
don't.
But no, there was still time left on the public comment because he wanted me to make a comment. So now we do have to do the motion.
That's what I was trying to do. I make a motion that we go back to legislative business.
Second.
Moving in second that we go to legislative business. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, at this time we will go to legislative business. Councilmember Gray.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby. Councilmember Darby.
I was still muted like an old person. I'm good, Council President. I have nothing.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
So I have no legislation tonight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilmember Harley.
No legislation tonight, Council President.
Councilmember Harley, did you still need to be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no legislation tonight.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 21002, Agenda 0012, an ordinance to authorize and approve contract 21023 PR between the City of Wilmington and Food Management Services, Inc., trading as Lintons Food Service Management for the Child and Adult Care Food Program.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to authorize and approve contract 21023 PR between the City of Wilmington and Food Management Services, Inc., trading as Lintons Food Service Management for the Child and Adult Care Food Program.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Education, Youth and Families Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Education, Youth and Families Committee.
That is all that I had this evening, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilmember McCoy. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to present for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 21003, Agenda 0013, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond series of 2021 SRF in order to provide the funds necessary for capital projects of the city of Wilmington relating to the city's 15th and Walnut Street combined sewer overflow separation project, providing for the sale of the 2021 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund and authorizing other necessary action.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond series of 2021 SRF in order to provide the funds necessary for capital projects of the city of Wilmington relating to the city's 15th and Walnut Street combined sewer overflow separation project, providing for the sale of the 2021 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr.
Second
President,
reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, at this time, let that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have another ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 21004, Agenda 0014, an ordinance to authorize and approve an agreement between the City of Wilmington and the Lara Corporation for on-site engineering services for the WITN TV station.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to authorize and approve an agreement between the City of Wilmington and the Lara Corporation for on-site engineering services for the WITN TV station.
Mr. President,
reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, let that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Finance and Economic Development Committee. I believe that meeting is on this upcoming Monday, February 8th.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
And Mr. President, I have a final ordinance to present and I call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 21005, Agenda 0015, an ordinance constituting amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2021 operating budget, being an ordinance to amend substitute number 1 to ordinance number 20016.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance constituting amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2021 operating budget, being an ordinance to amend substitute number 1 to ordinance number 20016.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, let that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Finance and Economic Development Committee. That meeting is on February 8th, 2021. Thank you.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Finance and Economic Development Committee meeting.
And thank you, Mr. President. That's all the items I have tonight.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Field.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 21006, Agenda 0018, an ordinance to amend Chapter 34 of the City Code to revise certain enforcement provisions and provide civil fines for owners of rental properties.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 34 of the City Code to revise certain enforcement provisions and provide civil fines for owners of rental property.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
That is all this evening, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. Councilmember Dixon.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Councilmember Spadola.
Nothing tonight, Council President.
Councilmember Walsh.
I have two resolutions, please.
Resolution 21010, Agenda 0016, where pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and
I
approval
move that resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea nay vote. On the question,
Mr. President, these are both Delaware Department of Safety and Homeland Security grants that are given to various police departments. For this particular one, it's $30,518 that can be used towards overtime for drug enforcement. There's no fiscal note because no matching funds are required.
okay, thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Thank you, President. I have a few questions in regards to the legislation, in regards to just overtime in general, statistically, and if you look at data throughout the nation in regards to police officers, overtime is not effective for police officers. You put tired cops in a very sensitive situation, making decisions, and a lot could just go wrong. Research shows that when police officers are working overtime, it heightens their pre-existing implicit bias. And we know already that Black and brown people are targeted by police at higher rates. We're arrested, sentenced at higher rates than other groups of people when we commit crimes and do drugs, everything at the same similar rates. So that's concerning to me that overtime, that even if it's a grant, that they're looking to do overtime, which is going to cause for more tired cops. So I am wondering, what are they dealing with? What are they doing with their regular hours that they're working, and how effective are they in the regular 40 hours or whatever hours they get in their regular work day? It just doesn't sit right with me to approve overtime to have a more tired force to increase pre-existing implicit bias when we already know it's an issue in all departments, including the Wilmington Police Department, in regards to racism and implicit bias and how they treat Black and brown people in the city of Wilmington.
Mr. President.
First, I'm going to go to Councilmember Johnson.
I would say I actually I think Councilwoman Darby, I actually agree with her perspective on implicit bias, and this is something I've talked about on public safety for a long time. How these grant funds are available for these overtime interdiction and military grade weapons, but yet we don't have it towards services. Unfortunately, that's just where we are. A lot of this money comes from the state. So it's something in which we're going to have to talk to our colleagues in Dover about why is this free money coming for this kind of activity and not another. So that's not going to sway how I vote, although I do agree with Councilwoman Darby. This is an ongoing issue that money needs to be available for the services we actually need in the city. But, you know, that's for another place, another time for us to talk about that.
Councilmember Walsh.
Yes, and Councilmember Johnson, I agree with you that it is another place and another time, and easily could have been discussed the other day during the public safety hearing. I have no personal knowledge of how police officers get overtime. We can put that into the next public safety meeting if you would like it answered, or it can also be very heavily addressed during the budget hearings. But for this particular resolution right now, it's a grant being given to us by the State Homeland Security for $30,500.
Any other council members? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
No.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cabrera,
Most definitely, yes.
Councilwoman Dixon, Councilwoman Dixon.
Sorry, I couldn't get myself off mute. Yes.
Thank you. Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Yes.
President Congo.
No.
10 yeas, 2 nays, and 1 absent.
Declare adopted. Councilmember Walsh.
I have another resolution to present.
Resolution 21011, Agenda 0017, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications.
I move that resolution be known as the reading of that resolution, that it be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by yea, nay vote.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that resolution be received, recorded, and filed, adopted by yea, nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is $56,281. Again, it is being presented to us from the Delaware Department of Safety and Homeland Security. This will be buying 20 taser weapons for the police department. Again, there is no fiscal note attached to it because there are no matching funds required on this.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to state that I actually did attend the public safety meeting, and I had raised the question about the amount of units, how many we're going to get, and things of that nature. One of the reasons why I just wanted to put out there that I am going to support this resolution is because of the fact that it is a non-lethal weapon. So I just want to make certain that we give our officers ways to apprehend or stop, people, I guess, they're chasing without anyone's life being ended. So I will be supporting this resolution.
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, I will not be supporting this resolution. Tasers, aka torture devices, as they call them, actually are being banned in other cities across the nation because people have died from the use of tasers. Nationally, when you look at the statistics and the usage of tasers, they're used highly on Black children. They're used highly, 4 times more likely than the rate of white people is used on Black people, tasers, and they are deadly. And most of the research on tasers, when they are deadly, 90% of them were unnecessary force. There was no serious threat, and they were shocked multiple times. So there, you see clearly there was an abuse in power. Carrying tasers increases police's use of force against very vulnerable groups and population people. And then necessarily a grant, whatever way is being paid, I don't want to encourage abuse of power, torture devices, use of force, and they are and can be deadly. So it's not something that has not happened. Actually, other states and other cities are banning tasers. So I think it's very dangerous to spend to get a grant for $56,000 to put tasers on the streets, so that, and Wilmington isn't like any anomaly. We fit into the national disparities that exist. So I would love to see the stats on taser use within the Wilmington Police Department by race and age. But that's something that I can definitely request to look at. And I definitely think that we could think about in the future looking at legislation around taser use with the Wilmington Police Department, because Black children are being targeted, and I have Black children, and that is concerning to me. And I just really don't believe police need any more funding than what they have, if it's coming from the city of Wilmington or from a grant.
Mr. President,
Councilmember Gray.
the department already has tasers on the street. The department has had them for quite a few
Councilmember
years.
Walsh, I will come back to you for
Oh, I'm
final
sorry.
statement. That's okay. Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with Councilwoman Darby, but coming from a law enforcement background, they are a less lethal. They can be lethal, but the police officers need something to use to try to control people that are out of control. You don't want them using, I don't know if they still have billy clubs. You don't want them using a stick. They have mace, but that depends on the wind and also what substance the person is on. So sometimes tasers are necessary, but I will say if there's an underlying medical condition, they can be fatal very quickly, like if you have a heart problem. So I'm in support of this, but I will say if we want grant money, we should specify what we want the police officers to ask for. Because there's grant money out there for a lot of different things. And instead of just supplying them with more what I call toys, scooters, tasers, etc., then let's get together and decide what we would like for them to apply to the Homeland Security or Criminal Justice Center to look for a grant. Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, I agree with the sentiments of my colleagues. I think as we talk about even before George Floyd, we talk about police reform. We talk about how we can use funds better. And unfortunately, our state hasn't made that shift yet. And that's something we have to advocate for in Dover, because again, I know in my district, there's a lot of victims of sex trafficking. And they don't need more tasers and everything. They need social services. So again, that's a conversation for another day. Tasers, I believe, are a better weapon to have than of course guns, and it can be deadly, certainly is. But I believe it is better than more guns on the streets. And that's where it's going to come to as a city council, to make sure our police department, if they do have deadly weapons, they're as well trained as possible in the latest tactics. So again, I would like to see, as I agree with my colleagues, that we need to look for money for services that our community needs, and not necessarily more weapons.
Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to disclose I have a financial conflict of interest and will be voting for.
Thank you. Councilmember Carrera.
I am going to support the bill, and I agree with Councilman Darby. It is a deadly force of weapon, and I wish we didn't have to use weapons at all. But it is a less deadly form of being able to stabilize a situation. And as much as I don't like any of it, I certainly would rather somebody get tasered than shot. I would rather none of it have to happen, but it is what it is. And we do have to give our police officers an alternative way to handle a situation, especially if it's a difficult situation, without having to shoot. And I'm sure the statistics and everything that the councilwoman shared are correct. And that leads back to what Councilman Johnson said. This is where we have to hold our state leadership accountable. This is where laws and restrictions have to be placed, and we have to make sure that people have the amount of training and the discipline to do their job on the street without having to use excessive force. And there has to be, criminal justice reform across the board, the judicial system, the prisons, all of it. All of it is really a very rotten system. But we got to move forward and at least keep our officers safe and our streets safe, where right now, I'm sure me and Councilwoman Brigida have been hearing gunshots for half an hour and there's a helicopter hovering around. So that's the state of affairs in our city. We got to do better and fix a lot of these problems without having to use weapons. We got to get to the root of it, but I'm going to support the legislation.
Councilmember Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know one of the major questions that some of our constituents had questions on regarding the tasers was how long a period before we have to pick up the cost. Again, I just wanted, this is a specialized grant for the 20 for the new academy, but the cost is usually $80,000 approximately, which is within the police department, puts typically inside their budget. But due to COVID, they had to cut it out of their budget. Is the reason why they were applying for the grant specifically to cover that cost. And also, I do agree that we should get statistics and data for outcomes from our police department regarding how they are using their tasers currently and the outcomes regarding that in our city. So I think the chief will be more than open, I think, to giving us that information, that data, and again, trying to find some lesser lethal ways of dealing with some of the crime and violence that's happening in the city. But again, just wanted to make sure that the constituents knew that it was across 5 years as far as what is usage for, and then it costs about $80,000 to us as a city. Thank you.
Council Member Fields.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just wanted to say that I do agree with Council Member Linda Gray. You know, we wish that we wouldn't have to use them. It is the lesser of the two evils, but if something has to be done, tasers will be it. It's just unfortunate they have to be used, and we have to go this route. So I just agree with everybody else, you know, just about what everyone else was saying, you know, but again, it's for another conversation, and we do need to look into other grants and different things like that, that we would want the Wilmington Police Department to actually get instead of going against what's already there and what they've already applied for. Thank you.
Council Member Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was going to say basically what Councilwoman Dixon stated, because I did make some phone calls to try to find out the cost, but I'm not going to reiterate what she said. So everything she said is was correct. And I also want to say that I will be supporting this because of COVID. A lot of people are just putting in grants to try to get some free money because everybody's budget has been cut back. So that's why I said I didn't want to reiterate what she said. But also, I wanted to say that I did send out a text to everybody. There is currently a shooting on the east side and on the west side. So we do have whatever is occurring out there tonight. It's some major problem we have in the city with the gun violence. So, well, I'm not going to get into it, but thank you, Mr. President.
Council Member Darby, this is your second go round.
Yeah, I just wanted to make an additional comment that I am willing to look up for grants that I think that our police department can do for reform and to really have like community engagement, community policing, and really looking at gun violence. But no, gun violence was brought up. They said they were shooting. Tasers are not going to contribute to decreasing gun violence. I want to make sure that the public, when they're watching this, because I know a few times gun violence was brought up about tasers. Tasers are not going to decrease gun violence. So that correlation is not connecting at all. But I do understand the concern for gun violence, as I'm very concerned about it, as my daughter's walking home from school before COVID and they were shooting at her bus stop. And I have lost people since high school due to gun violence. So that is very concerning, but it's not connected to tasers at all. I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you, Council Member Dory. Yes, this is one of those resolutions, and that does deserve a deeper conversation. But unfortunately, I think that in order for us to push that conversation, we have to kind of push back against the resolution. I'm not sure when we say that we do have concerns around it, but we're still going to support it. I'm not sure that we're taken seriously if we still support it. So for that reason, I'm not going to support it, just to hopefully open up some eyes in Dover, open up some eyes, locally, that we really need to have a conversation around the use of tasers here in our city. Council Member Walsh, did you have any closing comments?
I do. Some of these concerns could have been voiced on Monday at the public safety meeting. I believe the chief was being questioned for over 2 hours. So easily this could have been one of the questions. Tasers, I believe, are still illegal for civilians to own in the city of Wilmington. This is not new in our department, so perhaps one of the things we should ask the department about is, have there been any civilian complaints against the use of tasers by the police department? And if so, how many of them, since the department has had them, and I believe they've had them for at least 7 to 10 years. So perhaps the chief can answer that for us at our next meeting. And this is the lesser of the evils that I would rather, because a taser has to be misused most times, unless there's a real underlying health problem for the person it's being used on. And I would rather an officer use a taser on most people than I would a gun. And so for that reason, I'm supporting this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And I do see that there is a member from the public who wants to give comment, but unfortunately, per our current rules, we do not have public comment during legislation, but that will be addressed at our committee of the whole meeting next week, which I'll talk about that in a little bit during during petition and communications. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
No.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dixon,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Present.
Councilwoman Walsh,
Yes.
President Congo.
No.
9 yeas, 2 nays, 1 present, and 1 absent.
Declare adopted.
That's all I have this evening, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Walsh. At this time, we will go to petitions and communications. Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a comment about COVID vaccinations. I was speaking to one of my constituents, and she kept saying she was going to wait. She's in the age group where 1B over 65 and the rest of the first responders. And I kept asking, what is she waiting for? And she couldn't really express it. So I told her that if she's waiting to see if there are any ill effects, almost all of the medical field and first responders have been vaccinated, and they're still out there being first responders. So to the community and those that are in this group of 1B, don't say you're waiting. What are you waiting for? I mean, if you don't want to get it, then just say that. But if you're waiting to see the effects, look at the first responders. And I encourage everyone to get their COVID vaccine. Thank you.
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, the only thing I have is that on February 8th, the Homes campaign and I will be hosting lives throughout, starting on the 8th is Monday, right? Starting on Monday, going line by line, addressing the blight bill and alternatives to the blight bill to educate the public about what's in it, and then what are alternatives to it, and then the potential harmful impacts that it's going to have on the community for land grabbing and for displacement of renters. So we will be having that next week. So please tune in, follow the Homes campaign. It's on Facebook. It's spelled HOMES. Campaign will be going live to educate the public in regards to what's in the blight bill, and then alternatives to it. And that's all I have for tonight.
Council Member Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think, Linda, you must have read my notes. I too want to encourage seniors 65 and over to go get vaccinated. I would like to thank Ms. Gwendolyn, though, that email they sent out, and I was able to assist Priscilla with, from Ministry of Karen. They did go and pick up a lot of seniors from 10th Street, Ministry of Karen, and I think she sent me an email, and at least 30 of them was vaccinated yesterday. So I was glad to hear that. But I do want to say, anybody out there in the community that is 65 and over, there is places in the city of Wilmington that are giving the shots out, and I think it was online, but I will post it on my Facebook page. If you want to know of a place, feel free to call me and I can let you know where it is. But I also want to let the public know, Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting is changed from February the 22nd to February the 17th. And that is because we want to let everybody know I-95 is shutting down, northbound and southbound, and it's going to be a lot of road closures. So, and that's going to take effect. That's today. I think that will be tomorrow. I think it really starts tomorrow. So everyone needs to know I-95 south and northbound will be closed. So you're going to have to take some alternative routes, which is going to cause a lot of traffic jams and backups. So if you're returning to work, you need to get an early start because it's going to be major traffic in the city of Wilmington. And I know Del Dot put out some literature, so I just wanted to share that information. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Hurley asked to be excused. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple of items. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Councilmember Xanthia Oliver, for reminding everyone about the 95 construction is going to be happening right here in the 5th, 6th district. So me and Councilmember McCoy truly are going to feel what's going to be happening because we're right here in the middle of it. So thank you for that reminder. I'd also like to remind others about the vaccination and still getting tested. I am truly working with organizations trying to get more pop-up sites as far as being tested for COVID, as well as definitely getting our seniors vaccinated. There's another issue at hand, and I'm going to allow a Councilmember McCoy to speak on it, but Save a Lot on Lancaster Avenue will be closing on the 13th of this month, but she has more details. That is in her district, but we are neighboring districts and all of our residents are definitely affected by this, but she has more information. And I would just like to say on a higher note, this is Black History Month, and it's Black History Month 365 days of the year. But I would just like to, in honor of Black History Month, I'd like to recognize Bishop Aretha E. Morton, Pastor Emeritus of Tabernacle Full Gospel Baptist Church. Bishop Morton became the first female pastor to pastor a Baptist church in 1983. She served 33 years. She also was the first female and first African American to be appointed chaplain of the Wilmington Fire Department in 1983. In July 2016, the 500 block of Washington Street, where her church is located, was renamed Bishop Aretha E. Morton Way. It is my pleasure to represent the powerhouse of a Wilmingtonian and to thank her for her service. Thank you. That's all, Council President.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, well, to kind of piggyback off of what Councilwoman Fields stated, yes, she actually brought this information to my attention. We found out that the Save a Lot will be closing. It is unfortunate, you know. I did get some information about the workers I guess there's not that many workers there, so that there's a possibility that they will be finding work at another location. I can give you some more information about that. But when it comes to losing a grocery store, in our area, that's very traumatic. We've already had issues with food deserts here within the city of Wilmington. And so even the city, the actual administration did not have an answer and was not aware. So, this was something that really just popped up on us. And, I'm really feeling bad for not only the residents that live next door, but myself, because I'm literally around the corner. I can send my kid around there if I need to. So, hopefully I have more information, and I'll make certain I put it on my Facebook page. Also, wanted to make certain that everyone was aware that the Education Needs and Families, that meeting is going to be on Wednesday, February 10th at 5 p.m. There will be a notice up so that we can actually have that standing committee. So that's again on Education Youth and Families, Wednesday, February 10th at 5 p.m. The other thing I would like to make certain that people are aware of, it is Black History Month. Today is Rosa Parks Day. Today is her birthday, and I just actually found that on the website today. And it's actually, I don't think it's celebrated here within our state, but quite a few states actually celebrate this day. They either celebrate it on February, which is her day of her birth, or in December, which is actually the day that she decided not to rise from her seat. So they have their little options. So I just want to make certain that people are aware. And when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine, I hear, what everyone is stating, and I do want to make certain people aware I am putting the information up. Everyone has their reasons on why they are or are not vaccinating. But I just want people to actually have understanding, figure out what they're going to do. And then if you need to contact us, please do so. I do not want to push or force anyone, because especially the people in the African American community, Black and Brown, we definitely have had our issues with trust when it comes to the medical field. But those who wish to have it, they should be able to get it. And if you need it, give us a call. You can always give a call to City Council, 302-576-2140. Or and to get whomever's number for your specific council person to get connected. So that's all the information that I have.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, good evening. I did want to share a little bit of, updated news on the vaccines, because Governor Carney just announced that not only is the vaccine available for 65 and over, but it's available to frontline essential workers, which is a crucial part of our community. So it is available to teachers now, childcare providers, food processing workers, correctional officers, grocery workers, the folks who work at Save a Lot, they're on the front lines. And as we just saw studies, both locally and nationally, the people who are getting vaccines so far are not Black and brown. So people of color are not getting the vaccines, and actually has to do with age disparities and a lot of other things. But bottom line is we need to get vaccinated. I know there's personal choice, but similar to smallpox and measles, it is a necessity to move forward, because as other folks get vaccinated, our community will be left behind. So, now they're available at private pharmacies as well, CVS and Walgreens. So please look on the state of Delaware's COVID-19 website and sign up. It will allow us to open Wilmington back up and have everybody living healthy. But with that line, I did want to make an announcement about the upcoming Finance Committee meeting on Monday at 5 p.m. We are talking about just that, COVID, because it's impacted our communities so much that we're already struggling. So we're going to be talking about the parking program and parking enforcement in the new amnesty program. Trying to get folks back on their feet. And we're also going to be talking about new business projects and, how business is now operating in small minority businesses, especially during COVID. So these are very, very, very important topics for every community in Wilmington. So please show up and please ask questions, because we're here to move our community forward and rebuild a stronger Wilmington after we get out of COVID. Thank you.
Councilmember Field.
I just want to second everything that my fellow council members have just said. I have nothing else that I could add and say it any better than what they've said. So that's all for me tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Carrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, again, I just want to, I know we did it as a whole with the council, but extend my condolences to my sister, Hanifa Shabazz, and her family during this difficult time. I just cannot imagine, that life is taken so granted so easily from us, as if we as mothers didn't carry those children for 9 months, and all the family unit and others that help to raise a child. And that when we lose someone, when we lose a young person, that we have all had something stolen from us, not just their family, because that's lost potential. That's lost potential of what that person, that child could have accomplished, what life-changing invention they may have come up with, or just to grow old, to be a decent human being, and the lives that they touch. So we all have someone stolen from us every time that we lose someone on the streets of Wilmington. And I really do hope that we look at things that will help us. So when I think about some of the causes of crime in our city, I look to the neighborhoods where these things occur. I look to the scenario around it and what is happening. And I did start doing my own research and data, just driving around like a vigilante as a councilwoman when I first came on board, and realize, and you're going to hear me say this often, the vacant properties, the neighborhoods that are so broken down that crime just grows because they're dilapidated neighborhoods, but yet people still live in those neighborhoods because they can't afford to leave, because their property values are down, because we allow these broken down properties and vacant properties to fester in our neighborhood. We have a system in place, the criminal system, to deal with the city code that drags its feet for 9 months to a year when a tenant calls in about a problem, or a neighbor calls in about a vacant property, or a property that's just falling apart. So the nuisance laws went into place. So many things have been added to the city code to try to stabilize our neighborhoods, but it's still happening. So, I personally worked on legislation to calm the neighborhood down, the disorderly premises, holding everyone accountable, mandatory landlord training so that we would have educated landlords. We have people who have properties in our city that are not registered. That's not fair to every other business owner in our city who registers their business and abides by the law. Why are landlords any different? Why can't they also keep up the code in the properties that they own? It's a business. You're not going to see a restaurant running that isn't up to code by the Board of Health. They will be shut down instantly. So I'm not sure what the argument is, but I hope that everyone does come out to the meeting February 11th. And this particular bill, which is not a blight bill, because that is not what it's called. So if you're looking for it, look under Housing Reform Amendment. And if anything, it's a neighborhood stabilization bill. But what my home's counterparts fail to mention is, first of all, kudos on a great presentation the other night. I was present, and 3 of the people who gave testimonies that night complained about landlords not fixing the running toilet and getting evicted because of the water bill and the deplorable conditions that they lived in. I really hope that you embrace this bill, because it really addresses those very issues that renters experience in the city of Wilmington. But since none of the members invited you February 11th, the homes people have a special presentation that they're going to make. It'll be probably, very close to what they presented this past Tuesday. And I really welcome everyone to hear what they have to say, because they're working on other solutions that we can all embrace on helping deal with homelessness, rental equity, and just fairness across the board. Even people who come from prison who can't even find a place to live because of certain rules that are in place. So they're doing a really good job in putting some things together that could help out in more of a social manner. And the last thing I do want to remind people that all these things already exist in the city code. Only thing we're doing is changing it from criminal to civil just to expedite the time. We're also changing the high fines and the daily fines and making it a flat fee, and now in blocks of 7, and you don't have to pay for the fine if you fix the infraction. So please come February 11th, 5 p.m. and thank you for this time this evening.
Councilmember Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also just wanted to echo some of the comments that my colleagues have already stated. I will say with the COVID-19 right now, as far as the 65 and up population, please sign up with an organization or at your Pacific high rise. Because of the limited of vaccinations that are coming in to the city, there are still want to make sure that there are enough to cover the individuals. So they want to make sure that folks are signing up either through the website for the coronavirus with the state, with Division of Public Health, through Christiana Care, or even the Moores and the county are also helping in this space as well. So I would suggest signing up in those ways just to make sure that you get on a list to make sure that you are able to get vaccinated. From what I'm understanding, that testing is down in the city. So we do want to make sure that we still highlight that COVID is still here, that you still have to make sure you get tested. Please make sure we can get that done. In addition to, regardless of what your, if you want to get vaccinated or not, but still please make sure you still utilize the testing sites. ShopRite Pharmacy has closed as of January 26th. If you are had your pharmacy, that was your pharmacy that you were going to in the city, and I know many of our residents were, they have now all transferred your pharmacy to the CVS. CVS is now the owner of, they were bought, their corporate organization actually moved in partnership with CVS. So that is the reason why. It has nothing to do with ShopRite itself. It wasn't their decision. It was a corporate partner. And also that was in a merger with Aetna. So I just want to make sure that people know if you did have pharmacy at the ShopRite, please make sure that you go to the CVS to make sure that you have your medications that you need in that space. And then also Green Hill Pharmacy, if you would like to opt out, for example, of going to a CVS for your pharmacy, they also gracefully offered their services that you could come to them and that they would also take care of your prescriptions there. But I did want to make sure that that was broadly casted. ShopRite is trying to work on having another pharmacy into their facility in order to make sure that they can still filter that need. But as of now, all of them have been transferred to CVS. And I think they're trying to work on seeing if a CVS or another entity could potentially come in that space. So I just wanted to make sure our residents were notified that that has happened, so that if you see it closed, CVS is the place to go for your pharmacy now. Thank you.
Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few things. First off, I want to apologize to my colleague from the 5th District, Councilwoman Brigida Fields, for I did not mention that she was a co-sponsor of the resolution to honor Pastor Ben. It was a rookie mistake, and I hope we can move past this, Councilwoman Fields. Second, to echo the vaccine comments, this system is not one that is designed for seniors to navigate. So I encourage everybody, if you do know a senior that wants one, if they're not tech savvy, please reach out. Anybody's welcome to reach out to me. I had somebody from Nevada reach out to me earlier whose parents live just outside the city. I don't know how they got my information, but I was happy to try to help them. All our information is on wilmingtoncitycouncil.com. Please reach out to us if you need any help navigating the vaccine process. As it is before, it is not exactly the most tech-friendly process. Second, third, I want to thank the governor's office. I reached out to them last week to see if they could partner with the Wilmington Housing Authority to try to reduce some of the racial disparities with the vaccines. And today they were in Baynard and Crestview vaccinating people, which was great to see. I want to thank Councilmember Dixon for reaching out to me and setting up Christiana and WHA. I believe they're working on something in Riverside. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Councilmember Walsh.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I was sitting here thinking about this when I got a thing from the police department, a notice. And while we were sitting here talking about a ridiculous low amount of money for overtime for the police for narcotics and the purchase of the tasers for the police also, we had apparently 3 shooting areas which spread across the city. One was in the Salesianum area, the other 2 on the west side and the east side of town. And I'll just give you the Sally area though. And it was, I think it was on 27th Street, 21 9mm casings, 12.45, 12.556. 4 vehicles were hit, a house was hit, and a 13-year-old was hit. And the 13-year-old does have a minor criminal record. This is what we're facing on this street today. And we're worried about the police with a taser in their hand. What do we want them to have in their hands? When they're going up against people, they are so outgunned and so outmanned. And I think we need to have a very serious conversation of what we want done. We can't scream at the police for not protecting us when we need them and then question them all the time with every single move they make that we, none of whom, I'm sorry, Mr. Spadola, you were, except for Mr. Spadola, who was a police officer, have any idea what goes on in the psyche of a police officer. So when we're talking about warm and feely things that we have to have for each other, I think that's one of the things we have to have too. We're Wilmington, Delaware. We're not Chicago. We're not Baltimore. We don't have some of the horrific things that they have going on with their police departments and the general public. And I think we're all happy that we don't. So I think it's time we had a real serious discussion on that. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Councilmember Gray, I see you have your hand up. Do you need some additional time?
Yeah, please. I was just going to be specific about another killer, COVID. My husband and I got our vaccine today, and we were at Walmart. And Walmart starting Monday, and they didn't know if it would be 12:01 a.m. or 8 a.m., are going to start taking applications and giving out reservations. That's specific. And I know that the ENTs of Delaware, they are also on the governor's list, and their process is very simple. They just take name, date of birth, address, and put you on a list rather than going through the internet application process. So those are just some specifics. And thank you, Mr. President, for the additional time.
You're welcome. Next Tuesday, we're going to have a committee of the whole meeting. On the agenda will be a resolution to assign a council member to the Education, Youth, and Family Services Committee and a council member to the Health, Aging, and Disabilities Committee. There will be a resolution to approve 2 members appointed by Mayor Purzycki to the Wilmington Ethics Commission. There will be a resolution to amend City Council Rules 2 and 3 regarding public comment. A resolution to amend City Council Rule number 2 to clarify the process for legislative items to be placed on the agenda. A resolution to amend City Council Rule Number 2 to add additional period of public comment and additional round of debate among council members for each legislative item. A resolution to amend City Council Rule 10 to change the Intergovernmental Standing Committee to the Intergovernmental Affairs and Judiciary Standing Committee. So again, that's going to be on next Tuesday. That will be a committee of the whole meeting. Again, I just want to thank everyone in the public who joined us this evening. Thank you for your engagement. Please continue to do so. Just going to ask that churches and fraternities, sororities, different organizations, please join in and become a part of this process that we have every first and third Thursday, and also our committee meetings where so much can be discussed. We need your input and we welcome it. Again, as always it's already been mentioned, but just want to remind everyone that this is Black History Month, so please go out and support local Black businesses, not only this month, but year round. Want to wish my parents a happy anniversary. I believe on Saturday they are celebrating, I think it's 58 years together. So happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. On Facebook, I made a post just asking what our community needs from the administration and from City Council. We received over 300 comments. So I just want to thank everyone who was a part of that. We will be addressing those comments. We're going to have staff just kind of do a summary of the feedback so that we can address all of those comments very shortly. So I want to thank you, everyone who was able to participate in that. I believe that is all of the communications that I have. So at this time, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Stay safe.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, staff.